Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Lock Shop. Niels and Huss with you, getting you set for week 4. Obviously, our Best Bets episode came out on Friday. You can find that on the podcast feed, and make sure you go hop in on some fun over there as well. When you sign up for an account at Coolbet, just use the bonus code LOCKSHOP. You get 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit, up to $200. Huss, what's up, buddy?
Well, looking forward to tomorrow, man. We get it started early, 8:30 a.m.
Yes.
I guess that's what 7:30 out your time with the Vikes and Saints. Little breakfast game from London, and then
I'll be watching
a great
Formula One even earlier. So a beautiful sports morning in the Nielsen household.
What's the alarm clocks being set for? How can you do that? You have to get up at 5 a.m. every other day.
Yeah, buddy. Look, here's what I've realized is that sleep is overrated, my man.
You are the epitome of that. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, some real interesting games that we sort of went over yesterday on the Friday show, breaking them down individually. And then, of course, we finished it off with Brady and Mahomes on Sunday Night Football. I mean, it's going to be a hell of a day.
It's going to be an excellent day. Here's what we got coming your way here on Saturday. Kind of pop and parlay Saturday with the Lock Shop. We got our 3-game partner parlay that we're going to get to, some few other parlays that we're on individually, and of course some TD scores. And yeah, we're going to get, I was just talking with the folks over at Coolbet about our partner parlay, and they've given me the number on what it's going to be at. So give me 1 second here. I want to say this. I want to surprise you too, Huss, as we let's dive into our partner parlay, which is, and it's live. It's live now. Obviously, you can go find it, follow all our social medias, and you can find it. But plus 440 on this 3-game money line parlay, buddy.
I was hoping we could get 420, but we'll take the extra 20. No problem. 440. Thanks, P. Greggy.
Look, and it's exclusive, right? Like, so if you go bet these 3 games on your own, it's going to be plus 379. So make sure when you go to Coolbet, you click on exclusives, you find the Lock Shop Partner Parlay, and you're getting the nice little boost up to plus 440, which is great. And then look, we're not taking a bunch of heavy favorites here, Huss. All 3 of these games are at least within, I think, 3.5, 3 points. They're all within 3 points. All 3 of these games are 3 points. Yeah. So this is a tight one. This is a tight one.
Well, for sure. And I mean, you sort of laid out yesterday why you like the Cowboys. And I mean, listen, as much as I don't know, you can be yay or nay on the Cowboys, I think it's pretty clear what's happening with the Washington Commanders right now. Although sometimes these divisional games, a road favorite in the division sometimes can be a little sketchy, but I think Dallas is really playing well right now. Cooper Rush is making the most of his opportunity. And, Washington has just stunk so far this year. For my part of the parlay, this is a game that I tabbed in one of my 4 best bets, and it's the Cleveland Browns. And I think part of the reason that I'm throwing this one, I mean, I like them to win this game, but it's also the number. Right now, they're just a 1-point favorite. So on the money line, we're talking about a minus 118 fave going into Atlanta. And honestly, I've been really impressed with Atlanta. They've been covering. They won last week outright, which was part of the parlay I gave out a week ago today that won, along with the Panthers and Jags. But I just think that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are going to be able to run all over Cleveland. This game might take 2 hours and 15 minutes, by the way. Like, this is going to be running time. I'm not sure how much passing we're going to get. And listen, that's part of the reason why I do like Cleveland to win this game, albeit Atlanta has impressed and has made some people some money so far. So yeah, Browns on the money line, like the number at minus 118. And then a team that we're both high on and you gave out in your best bets is the Minnesota Vikings. They dodged a bullet last week against the Detroit Lions. There's no other way around it. They were lucky to win that game. But New Orleans banged up. We could see Andy Dalton. It seems like it's trending that way. Alvin Kamara has been invisible this year, and it's time for Justin Jefferson to have a big, big game on an international stage. So I like the Vikings too in this one, and I love the number they're giving us.
Yeah, the Saints, I mean, the only game the Saints won was that miracle comeback in the fourth quarter where Jameis went off for, 220-plus yards and multiple touchdowns to Michael Thomas. So their recipe for the win was Winston to Thomas in the fourth quarter. And they're likely not going to have Winston or Thomas in this game. So I think Minnesota goes over there, takes care of business. Really liked it at -2.5. Love it on the money line. And I love the fact that we're getting all three of these games up to plus 440. Cool bet exclusives. Click on the Lock Shop Partner Parlay and just follow, obviously, Nielsen TSN Central 60, Hustlerama, Cool Bet Canada socials. You'll be able to find links to the Partner Parlay on that. For a little bit more on Minnesota as we work our way through this today. Let's dive into a few other parlays that we're on. What am I looking at here? I'm looking at plus 501, plus 495, plus 314, plus 556. Hustler's a little bit of everything sitting here in this little parlay mix today.
Yeah, I've got a couple others, but I like these. And listen, I do like San Francisco to win this game in a bounce back. I know they looked so bad and people are really low on them. But more often than not, if you look at history, Kyle Shanahan has the number of the Rams and Sean McVay, and I think they get the win. So I'm going to put them in with the Vikings teased down from 3 to 2.5. Now, it is a bit of a chalky number at 2.5. That being said, for the parlay, I mean, right now the Vikings are -3 at -114, and if you move it to 2.5, it's -133. So. Listen, I think the Vikings can win this one going away, but there's always the chance that it's a tight one. You want to get it under a field goal. So I'm going to put on Minnesota -2.5 in this one. And we're going to keep running with the Texans. This was 5.5. It's now at 6. We talked yesterday about the injury issues that the Chargers are dealing with. I'm still not sure Justin Herbert's even close to 100%. Loss of Joey Bosa, I think, is going to be impactful. That's going to tie into my touchdown pick a little bit later on. But Houston +6, Minnesota -2.5 and 2.5, and San Francisco money line comes out just over 5-1. And then I do like this one. My favorite pick of the best bets is Tennessee +3.5. I started this one off there. And then the New York Jets right now with Zach Wilson back going up against Pittsburgh are 3.5-point dogs at -118. I'm going there. I think that he'll add something to the offense. I think he'll maybe get a little bit more out of some of those weapons, especially Elijah Moore. And the bottom line is Mitch Trubisky should not be laying 3.5 points to pretty much anyone in the NFL right now. So I do like the Jets to cover that number on the road. And then I also teased the Lions down to -2.5. We talked yesterday about the big injuries, Swift and St. Brown, both out for Detroit. That being said, I still think that they have the weapons, and I think we'll see a big game from Jamal Williams. It'll give an opportunity for a guy like DJ Chark to maybe see a few more balls, and I still think that they're better than the Seattle Seahawks, who will be traveling from the West Coast. So Tennessee +3.5, Jets +3.5, Lions -2.5 comes out just south of 5-1 at +495.
Yeah, and I've got 3. I've got a money line parlay that has Dallas. We already talked about the Cowboys a lot. I'm throwing the Giants on there, and I can get to the Giants a little bit because I've got them with the Bears. And then I do have Pittsburgh on the money line, and I think this is a spot where we both hit. I mean, I could see the Jets keeping it close, but I'm going to take Pittsburgh at home. Pittsburgh has a death row of a schedule coming up. They got to have this one against the Jets. And, nothing against Zach Wilson, but for a guy who hasn't played yet in the regular season, I mean, could be a little bit to get up to speed. You do make a great point, especially from a fantasy perspective on Elijah Moore. Flacco and Moore, not on the same page. Wilson and Moore, when they've been together, hasn't looked that bad. So maybe that helps. How does he work with the rest of the weapons there? Not 100% sure, but Pittsburgh, I think on the money line, they're like -184. But I put it into this parlay. So Pittsburgh, Dallas, and the Giants on a money line parlay. Once again, all 3 games within, a 3.5 would be the biggest spread there, that Pittsburgh number. And it pays +314. And then I adjusted a bunch of totals to get a 4-gamer that sits at +556. So I do think Cleveland and Atlanta, as weird as it sounds, should be a pretty entertaining football game. Neither of these teams can stop anybody. And, I mean, could Cleveland just run the ball consistently and, grind this game out? They could. But could Cleveland run the ball for like 250 yards and score 4 touchdowns? Yeah, I think they could do that well against Atlanta. So I'm moving that one down to 43.5 points. Jacksonville, Philly, we talked about it earlier. I'm moving that down to 41.5. Buffalo, Baltimore, I'm moving down to 47.5. That should be a high-scoring football game. And then I moved Chicago and the Giants up to 42.5. And this game, I would think, is completely controlled on the ground, which should limit those big plays that lead to the overs. I mean, Saquon could certainly bust one. Khalil Herbert has shown that in the limited opportunities he's had so far. But Chicago has allowed their quarterback to throw the ball 45 times, not per game, so far this season in 3 games. Okay, Justin Fields has attempted 45 passes in 3 games, and you've got a guy on the other side in Saquon where you could just control this game on the ground. So I'm going to move that to under 42.5. So 3 overs and an under, all of those totals adjusted, and it does get you to plus 556, which I don't mind doing every once in a while.
Yeah, that Chicago Giants game, I mean, it just reeks of last week's Monday Nighter, Cowboys and Giants in a game that's going to, and again, we talked about it. When we made our picks for Monday Night Football, we had under 39.5. That number dropped to 38.5 and 38 and ended up finishing 39 on the nose. So I do like you're giving yourself an extra sort of field goal wiggle room right now. I don't expect either of those teams to be very prolific offensively. So I like the safe procedure going in there to get the extra points, but I do think that one has underwritten all over it.
All right, and what about some touchdown scores for Sunday's action? I've got 3. You've got a couple. You went to Pierce, was it last week or the week before? Did he cash for you? He cashed for you, didn't he?
He did last week. Called his shot, first NFL touchdown. And listen, he's going up against the San Diego, the LA Chargers. The Chargers have not been very good stopping the run so far this year. And I think that now that Lovie Smith sees this rookie is making the most of his opportunity, he's going to continue to get more touches. And I think considering some of the pick problems that Davis Mills has, I think when they get down into the red zone, they really will be leaning on their running backs. Now, Rex Burkhead could get a look or two, but I think after last week and the way that Pierce played, I think it's pretty clear that he is the guy going forward. So I love the fact we can get him at plus 125. And then my other TD, we talked a lot earlier about the fantasy impact of what Jalen Hurts is able to do. I think we're going to get a ton of points in this Jacksonville-Philly game. And A.J. Brown just had a kid this week. So baby swag alert. For sure he's getting a touchdown. He'll dedicate it to his wife and the new child. He'll get into the end zone at plus 108 and actually parlayed those together. I think it came in around plus 380, something like that.
Was A.J. Brown not the guy whose dog died a couple of weeks ago? I thought we were talking about like
that?
I think Pete Greggy was on with us and was like, A.J. Brown's dog just died. He's going to do it for him. Now he's got a kid? What a first month for A.J. Brown as an Eagle. Holy smokes.
Lots happening off the field for A.J. This, thankfully, is a very happy milestone for him. And, of course, it's been all smiles around Philly with their 3-0 start as they look to continue being the only undefeated team remaining in the National Football League.
I'm going to ride with a couple of guys looking to get off the schneid, as we like to say in hockey. Justin Jefferson, and usually you wouldn't see us pick a lot of guys at minus numbers in this situation, but it's only minus 105, and it's Justin freaking Jefferson. You're telling me, I'm like, from a value perspective, I think this might be the best you get it all year because he hasn't had a great start. At the beginning of the year, it would have been like, I mean, if you look at these types of guys, it's like minus 170, minus 180. Now it's sitting at minus 105. It's going to be in a game that I like the matchup for the Minnesota Vikings. I would think they, at this point, are probably going to force the issue with Justin Jefferson. So I'm going to be on Jefferson minus 105. Deontay Johnson does not have a touchdown yet this year either, but he's been targeted 11 times or more in all 3 games. So double-digit targets in all 3 of those games. It's just doesn't have one yet. It's just a matter of time until he gets one. I'm going to go this week against the Jets being the week. It's at plus 130. And then Christian Kirk's very interesting. To me, the disrespect here for Christian Kirk continues because he's got 3 touchdowns in his last 2 games. He's become Trevor Lawrence's go-to guy. And we know that game. We're expecting it to be a high score. You just laid it out with A.J. Brown. Huss, think about this. There are 6 players with better odds to get a touchdown in that game than Christian Kirk. I don't understand how that's the case. So Christian Kirk at plus 175. I will take that ahead of Dallas Goedert at plus 155 or something like that. So, I mean, thank you. Thank you for the plus 175.
You know what that number is? You know what that number is and why it's so big? Because Kirk has been awesome. He's been getting tons of looks from Trevor Lawrence. That is respect for Darius Slay for the job that he did on Justin Jefferson on Monday Night Football. And I think that they're looking at that and thinking that they can return, can continue to do that. Easier said than done. Kirk Cousins shrunk in that game, and I think Trevor Lawrence has a big game in front of him as well. So certainly hope you're right. I've got plenty of fantasy investment in Christian Kirk, and it'd be nice to see him continue rolling.
All right, so there you go. You got your player props, you got your parlays Saturday, you got a bunch of different parlays, and we got a nice little 3-gamer that's set up perfectly for us at plus 440. So that's Prop and Parlay Saturday with the Lock Shop. Once again, if you're just seeing this on Saturday and you're like, where's all your best bets? That's on Friday's episode, all right? So just roll on back on the podcast feed and track down the Friday episode of the Lock Shop to get our, 7 best bets because we're both on the Jags, plus 6.5. Huss, anything else you want to get in here?
You know what? Well, hey, it's a great time to remember, folks, if you haven't bet at CoolBet already, use the promo code LOCKSHOP. Get a 100% bonus up to $200 on your first deposit. And it's a great time to head over into the CoolBet exclusives and check out what we got going on for our Partner Parlay, as well as a few other options. Pretty much every day, there usually is a CFL one. Pat and Jacob got a college football one for Saturday. Although depending on when you're watching this, the games may have started already. And of course, our Partner Parlay. And we did have, I think, a lot of action on that last week. We saw the number go down a couple times. So if you do want to get on it, the sooner you get on it, the better.
That's going to do it for a Prop and Parlay Saturday with the Lock Shop. For Huss, I'm Nielsen. Huss, enjoy your Sunday. Everybody watching or listening, enjoy your Sunday. We'll be back on Monday, right back in the grind, getting ready for Monday Night Football with the Lock Shop. Talk to you then, bud.
Later, dude.